Well, welcome everybody to the first ever Once Upon a Time roundtable with other Once Upon a Time podcasters. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Daniel J. Lewis from Once Podcast, and I'll let the rest of the hosts introduce themselves.
I'm Bill Meeks from Greetings from Storybrooke.
I'm Bree from Other Side of the Mirror.
I'm Jose Caradero from the Storybrooke Herald.
Oh, I'm Kaori Take from AfterBuzz TV.
My name's Rebecca Johnson from Operation Cobra Podcast.
And I'm Tiana Hobson from AfterBuzz TV.
And also joining me here in my studio.
I'm Jenny, and I'm from Once Podcast.
Yes. It's kind of crazy that I forgot the person right to the right of me. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. This is going to be awesome to talk about our favorite TV show. And we've all got these separate podcasts, and I really recommend that everyone who's listening to this, you may not recognize our names, our voices, you may recognize one of us, but check out these other podcasts because they're all great, provide different perspective and everything. But this little roundtable during this terrible hiatus will give us a chance to kind of look back and look forward. So here's my first question I want to ask you guys. And Bill, this will go to you first.
Okay.
Considering that we all have different Once Upon a Time podcasts, and we all approach things from a slightly different perspective, different experience, different approach, different theories and such, what is it that you feel like makes you unique? Or, I mean, you might be doing the exact same thing as another Once Upon a Time podcaster, or what is it you feel like is your approach to Once Upon a Time in your podcast?
Well, basically, I listen to Once Podcast and then copy everything they say.
No kissing up here. This is a round table.
No, but me and Anne-Marie Desimone is my co-host, and she comes at it from, she's a big fan of like TV dramas and melodramas, like, you know, she just watched Dawson's Creek, the full series, a couple months ago. And then I come from it from the side, I'm a big like sci-fi fantasy comic book fan. So we kind of, you know, she gets all that stuff, I get all my stuff, and we kind of meet in the middle to discuss the show, because the show kind of meets in the middle as well. And I mean, also, we're huge fans of the show, and we try and make that come through, even when we're not completely happy with the show. You know, we always try and stress it's a fan podcast. We're going to talk about this show in a positive way, even if we do have, you know, some constructive criticism here or there.
Bree, what about you with Other Side of the Mirror? What's your unique perspective of Once Upon a Time?
What he said. No. My co-host, who is in the room with me here, like Jenny is, she is an attorney, and I am a former bookseller, and we just approach the show basically. We talk about Regina a lot because we notice there's a lot of Regina apologists and there's a lot of Regina haters. And we were just in the car and said, hey, let's start a podcast about Regina. And this sounds like a great idea. And so she handles like the ethics and the morality, and I handle the more literature points. And then we just kind of, it's basically us just dissecting the show over and over in our recorded conversations.
Cool. Well, me, Daniel J. Lewis, and Jenny, with our podcast, Once Podcast, we like to get really in-depth into things. And all of us on our team, and it's sometimes 3, sometimes 4. Jeremy Laughlin is another co-host, and Dan Flynn sometimes too. We all watched Lost, and especially Jeremy and I obsessed over Lost. So we learned to look for those really fine little details. So we love freeze framing Once Upon a Time and trying to read book titles, compare things between, have we seen that object before, and then compare it to past screenshots. So our approach is, very in-depth, and we love it. We love this TV show. It's our favorite show that's on right now. Jose, from Storybrooke Herald, what is your perspective?
We just, Larissa and myself, basically just watch the show. I usually watch it twice. Sometimes she just watches it once. We go almost in depth. I mean, we can't go through all the specific details, but we, theorize. We think about things. I mean, we always say that, oh, could this happen? Is this person this person? We go, all around. Of course, sometimes we hate a character, and then all of a sudden, after a few episodes, oh, I love that character. So it goes around everywhere. I mean, Larissa says that in the beginning she didn't like Emma, which is the savior, but then after we saw the episode Tallahassee, she started loving her. So we change every once in a while. Whenever we see an episode, we'll hate somebody, then we'll love somebody. It's completely different. Then I love talking to her about this. She loves talking to me about it. So it's all in fun and talking about the things that we love about it.
So it took a season and a half almost for her to like the main character.
What can we say? We change minds constantly around here.
Now, before we go on to Karori, I want to ask my wife then, Jenny, what kind of perspective that she enjoys about Once Upon a Time and approaches this with.
Oh, well, I feel like I was a kid not too long ago watching Disney movies, so I love kind of seeing how like consistent they're being to the traditional Disney stuff. So I'm a sucker for that stuff. I love it.
Yeah, even some of the dresses are very similar.
Yeah.
Karori, from AfterBuzz TV's after show for Once Upon a Time, tell us about your perspective.
Well, AfterBuzz TV is really big on we're just huge super fans, and the four of us sit down, get together, and we just kind of talk about, our point of views, whether we agree, we disagree. We even talk about, did that happen? Did that not happen? Because sometimes we forget if things really happen or not, because it's so confusing. It's such a fantastically mythical labyrinth type show. And we also talk about news and gossip, and we like to predict what we think is going to happen. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I gotta say, both Karori and Tiona are from AfterBuzz TV, and you guys have done a fantastic job with season 2. And I know season 1 was really rough, but now season 2, you guys are doing great. So anyone out there who might have thought, nah, I don't want to listen to AfterBuzz, give them a second chance, because now they're doing fantastic. New panel, they're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca Johnson from Operation Cobra podcast. Tell us about your perspective of all of this.
Well, we come at it from, we try to have an environment where it's just two friends hanging out, talking about the show, just as if you had just watched it. Even though we record a couple days after it airs, we kind of get together and talk about, we break it down by characters mainly and talk about characters and meta and storytelling. So we don't maybe go through all the minute details, but we like to talk about character.
Yeah, and that does provide a nice perspective, because so many of us like getting obsessed with that tiny little detail or our pet theories, which we're going to talk about our pet theories here in just a minute. But Tiona, what's your perspective? You're with AfterBuzz as well, but what's then the perspective you're bringing to Once Upon a Time?
Well, I think I'm kind of a nerd in a way. So as soon as I hear whatever character might be introduced, I immediately go grab my Brothers Grimm fairy tales book and I reread that story and then try to see how they might mix it in with the storylines they have going on as well right now.
Awesome. So. Have there been stories that when you've read it, you've been surprised by how the original story was?
Sleeping Beauty. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right.
I was like, wait a second. That's not the way my mom told me that story. But,
all of those original stories are so dark.
They really are.
They're meant to scare children.
And I've always heard that, but I'm used to the singing Hans Christian Andersen version of the movies and stuff. So it was definitely an eye-opener. And I kind of like reading the darker versions as an adult now because it makes me feel like a child.
That's why I love the Disney. I can't go dark, but I'll probably try. But I always love Disney. I work for the Disney company, so I actually... I enjoy watching everything like that, so it's cool.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
I didn't realize you actually worked with them. Maybe, Jose, you could get all of us like special passes sometime.
I'll see what I can do.
I've got a season pass. I'm down to go whenever.
Nice. Well, I want to hear your pet theories, and this is a chance that it's going to be a lot more passionate and opinionated discussion, but so feel free to jump in, respond, disagree, anything like that. But looking back at what we've seen so far with season 1 and half of season 2, and then also looking forward to the future, what have been your theories that you've been holding on to for a long time and have not let go of, or it's your new pet theory that you're thinking, this is the one I'm going to hold on to, I'm going to almost die over this theory? Maybe not literally.
Oh dear.
Close to that.
Where do we start?
Yeah, and anyone here can start off if you'd like. Just jump in there.
I'll start. Oh.
Go ahead, Bree.
My theory is that Snow's mother's name was Emma, and that's why Regina only said it twice in season 1. And the second time she said it was kind of vengeful, and that's the theory I will not let go of.
No, you cut out just a little bit. Who did you say was Snow's mom?
My theory is that Emma was Snow's mother's name.
Oh.
Ah.
Because Regina only said her name twice in season 1. So I thought,
I like that.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to go back.
Do you think there's a fairy tale character there that Snow's mother was some fairy tale character?
I don't know. Probably not. I'm not sure though. I mean, you don't know. So.
Okay.
That's my one theory I won't let go of.
I remember before we had seen season 2, I heard from one of our listeners that they thought maybe Aurora, the original Aurora, was Snow White's mother. But now that might not work.
Yeah, probably not, unless there was some amnesia thing going on.
Some amnesia.
Yeah.
I just wonder when we're going to see Snow White's sister, Rose Red. It seems like a character you want to bring in.
Ruby.
Yeah, it seems like they're already doing that with Red, but
Yeah, I can see that. It's not uncommon for one character on the show to be several fairy tale characters
True.
all wrapped into one.
Right.
That's true.
Or
It's already like 5. We lost count.
Or remember the story of Catherine and Frederick. That's actually a fairy tale. It's spelled differently than their storybook names, but Catherine and Frederick is a fairy tale that it has something to do with gold in it, that they have treasures, and if I remember it correctly, Catherine ends up like wasting the treasures that they got from the lake, something like that. Hey, by the way, lake, if I'm remembering that story correctly. But yeah, it's just a tiny little nod there to some other fairy tale.
cool.
What other pet theories do you have?
I actually have one that would actually tie into that one character being multiple characters thing. Okay, I think Bay, when he got sucked through that portal into another world, got sucked into Neverland, became Peter Pan, and then eventually came to Earth and became Neil Cassidy. That's my overarching theory. It would explain the time differential between him getting sucked into the portal and Rumple, trying to figure out how to get the curse to happen. It would explain why Neil Cassidy was completely cool with everything once August showed him what was in the box. And I also have connected, I think, that the people that August went off with when they left Emma, or when he left Emma, were the Lost Boys.
Oh my god.
And I think that what he was in that box was something having to do with Neverland, which is what got Neil Cassidy to go along with everything. That's my pet theory.
Do you
Go ahead, Karen.
do you know what you think? Sorry. Do you know what you think might be in the box? By any chance?
I don't know. To go along with my theory, I'm not completely sure. It would have to be something that would say Neverland to him. But I mean, the most popular theory right now is that it's a drawing of Rumple's dagger or something like that. And if he was Bay, he would recognize that.
See, Bill, you and I have something in common. I actually think that Bay is Neil Cassidy. So that coincides with everything that you just said. But in the Peter Pan thing, we discussed this in one of our episodes. If by any chance he did go to Neverland because of Captain Hook actually going to Neverland, saying that he was going to Neverland when he threw out the bean. So that gave me that idea. Of course, Larissa disagreed, but you know, I guess two different brains. We're actually going to disagree on everything. But Bill, you and I are right
Simpatico.
there. Simpatico.
I did see someone saying that. I did see someone saying in the chat, what about the age differential? If he got sucked into Neverland, he was a boy until he came to Earth. And if him and the Lost Boys came around the same time, they aged up. Emma, August, and Neil Cassidy are all around the same age. So, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say that I'm totally on the team Bay being Peter Pan, being Neil Cassidy as well, because that's all I can think of. And I kind of hope, I don't know how the curse would work for him once he was over here. So if during that 28 years, maybe he's been on Earth for a long time and he just wasn't aging, but wasn't in Storybook while he wasn't aging.
The only problem I have with that Hook Bay theory or Bay Peter Pan theory is that didn't he go to a land without magic when he
originally said, yeah.
So and that was pointed out to me at Dragon Con, and it was something that I didn't think about, that you know Tinkerbell has magic and the Lost Boys use magic. So that's the only problem I have with that theory, but I'd be okay with it if it happened.
Well, you know, Rumple was messing around the portal. It's possible some magic could have gone with Bay.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought that what the Blue Fairy said was that where his magic wouldn't be able to work, it was something more along the lines of a different sort of magic where he would have no power, was the land that Bay was getting sent to. But I could be wrong on that. That's probably made up in my head how I want to remember things.
Yeah,
so
that
my
seems
theory
right.
works.
I remember it that way too.
Yeah.
And the fact that in Neverland, I mean, the only way you could probably use magic is with fairy dust, and there are only a certain amount of fairies in Neverland. And so I guess you could be correct as well, but, you know, Bay, Peter Pan, I'm still going with that.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's the theory that's kind of my anti-theory. I have a hard time accepting that one because I'm thinking Rumpelstiltskin designed the curse to bring him to Bay. So my theory is that he designed it to also bring him to when Bay was, not only where Bay was. So wherever Bay ended up. And I don't have a problem with time travel between worlds because we saw Jefferson do that when he got the apple for Regina in the episode An Apple Red as Blood. That hat went to a time before the curse so they could catch the apple. I would have trouble with time travel inside a world. I don't want to see them doing that. But so I think that, we'd seen 3 different ways in season 1 that people ended up in our world, a land without magic, or 2 for certain. One is through the curse, of course. The other is Emma and Pinocchio through the wardrobe. And then the third is Bay. It seems like he was sent to our world. And my thought for a while has been, it just seems reasonable that everyone has been popping into our world at the same time, and it's the same approximate place. Even though they come from different times, they end up here at the same time.
It could be a possibility. I'm all for that one, but I'm still sticking with Bill, you know, the Bay being that. But I can understand. I mean, even if it is so many years after Bay, because Rumpelstiltskin, of course, has been the dark one for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years in story in the fairy tale world. I feel like that if you go to a land without magic, you would go to like almost the same time period. I mean, I can understand with you, Daniel, about them being in the same time period, because magic works in mysterious ways. So being that they could be in the same time period and be in the same age, growing up, because they are free from the curse, they have escaped the curse. That means that they could probably have grown at the same time in that same time period.
Now, we did hear in the episode the doctor that Rumpelstiltskin did specifically say he wants to go to a land without magic. And because he wanted Jefferson's hat to take him there, he wanted the slippers, which we know where the slippers go, to our world, and some other things that he was wanting to get to a land without magic. Well, that's our land, and why did he want to get here? Because that's where he thought Bay was. Now, it's possible he's wrong. He miscalculated something, or many different theories are out there about how it could be different.
Yeah.
Rebecca, Kaori, or Tiona, what about you guys? What are your pet theories that you have?
One of the things that I keep coming back to in season 2 is Regina's inevitable death. And I worry about it a lot because I like Regina, but
He's having a heart attack right now.
I know I love Regina too, but in An Apple Red as Blood, she says that Emma will have Henry over her dead body. So that to me signaled that by the end of the series, she's going to die and Emma and Henry will be together. And the fact that she's being redeemed in season 2 has me so worried because, for people who did watch Lost, that when somebody got what they wanted or they got better, they got to be better people, they might get killed off. So that sort of has me worried, and it's something I've been thinking about all season, even though I don't think she'll die this season.
So with that theory, you're gonna get some any hate mail right now.
It's put in there in the writing, so...
I agree with you, Rebecca, because, in fact, in this finale episode, Queen of Hearts, when Regina went up to that well, I thought, no way, they're going to kill her right now?
I thought about it.
I thought it was happening.
I was scared.
I thought she was gone.
Yeah.
One of the things I brought up in our podcast conversation about that is I felt like that was her redeeming moment right there, that she heard. She knew no one would survive that. But yet she went to stop it anyway and essentially sacrificed her life. Although she didn't end up having to sacrifice her life, she was willing to. That was her redeeming moment. But everyone just kind of brushes it to the side and so long, Regina, we're going to go somewhere else without you.
Yeah, goodbye.
I feel so bad for Regina.
Yeah, me
Invited
too.
her for milkshakes.
Yeah, what was up with that? That was like rude. Even for that little kid, I thought he was going to be the one that you want to come with us. No, he wasn't the one that actually did that.
Yeah. I'm not really feeling Henry this season, letting you guys know.
You and hack the internet.
Henry's very uneven with me. Like he can really impress me one episode, and then the next episode it's like he just got off the bus from Podunk, Iowa.
Right.
Hasn't acted a day in his life.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, Henry sometimes, like you said, Bill, he amazes me with his maturity that he brings to the character, and the fact that he has the ability to say so many wonderful things, and then all of a sudden, go down the toilet. Come on. If you're gonna be like that the whole time. Don't be just one time awesome, and then one time you just went down the crapper.
Well, he is just a kid. I mean...
That's true. But still.
Well, one of my theories is in the future, I think Regina is she was awful last season, and this season she's awesome, and I have a feeling that she is going to get killed off eventually. I agree with that. But I think before that happens, I think Cora is going to turn her back to the dark side, and they're going to have to go at it against
I'd love that.
That would be fun.
It's probably inevitable. I mean, that's probably going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
The dark side, but I don't want her to die. She's such a good character, and I mean, yes, she is trying to change, but that's only skin deep. I mean, changing is very hard to do. She was good in the beginning, then she turned evil. Now she's trying to be good for Henry's sake. Something tells me that's not going to stick.
Well, I think she's just sorry. I think she's just very volatile right now. So I think her mom coming back, and the mid-season finale, her mom was like, when she's ready to have me back, I'm gonna come get her, and that's pretty much what might happen.
It's like a setup for the reunion now.
Exactly.
Family reunion.
I keep waiting for Regina to somehow be written into the Little Mermaid story as Ursula, because she did mention that she was looking for the mermaid. So I keep thinking she's going to be written into that story, just like Rumpelstiltskin was written into so many.
That's the story you're referencing, the Beauty and the Beast episode.
And then another one becomes another character. But yes, I just can't wait for Ariel to be introduced. If they are going to call her Ariel, they have to. I mean, it's Disney. They have to, of course, use Ariel. But I can't wait for that to happen. If they're going to really go under the sea, if, of course, Regina's going to be Ursula-ish, or is it going to be Rumpelstiltskins again, Ursula-ish? Which would be weird to actually see him as that.
Did you guys see the little animated GIF that David Anders, who plays Dr. Whale, posted? He said, just before we knew his identity, he said, "All right, you guys figured it out." And it's an animated GIF of Ursula dancing around with David Anders' face.
No.
I did not see that. I have to go find it now.
Yeah, speaking of Dr. Well, I thought for the longest time that he was going to be the gingerbread man. I don't know why. I just thought he was going to be the gingerbread man.
That's funny.
I don't think I want to eat Dr. Whale. That kind of thing. Larissa might, but I don't know about me.
What other pet theories are out there? This is great.
I have one about King George and Cora actually being Regina's parents, because Cora is the miller's daughter, and King George had a love that was taken away. His wife was taken away and from him, and we didn't really get a lot of backstory on that. So I kind of feel like maybe Cora and him have some sort of connection, and maybe, you know, Regina will find out that he's her real father, and I don't know. That's just what's been playing around in my head for the past couple weeks. So we'll see how that one goes.
All related once again, somehow.
Yeah. You know, it's my baby mama's daddy's cousin sister's
right.
type removed.
It's coming back to reality. It's coming back to us. It's a baby mama. Oh, awesome. Poor Henry. Poor Henry dad. I mean, not poor Henry's son. Poor Henry dad.
Yeah. Racer has his own.
I've wondered that same thing too, because just what you said, and also the way that Cora seems to treat Henry Sr. as if he's like just
beneath her.
Beneath her, like tied, not by choice, but just for some odd reason he's there.
Right.
But yet Henry Sr. is the one that's, at least that we've seen in the past, he's been more affectionate toward Regina. And that's not to say that a non-biological parent can't be as affectionate as a biological parent. It almost seems like they're flipping that around if they're saying that Cora is less affectionate toward Regina than Henry Sr. was. But now it almost seems like they're flipping it back around with Cora saying, "My daughter needs me. That's why I'm no longer going to kill her, but I'm going to come back."
That was a twist.
Yeah.
It's creepy. More tortured, and it's going to be more torture than killing her. It's like, I'm going to torture you to be evil again.
May I share a theory of ours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We think that Neil is the White Rabbit and Bay. Because Neil has the Hatters and Cleaners sign in his apartment. He has all these clocks. He drove a VW Rabbit, and Cassidy was a vagabond in real life, hanging out with Jack Kerouac. So it might, I don't know, we might be right. I don't know.
That is interesting.
That's a cool theory.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
And I know, especially in his first appearance, people were theorizing a lot that he had to have something to do with Wonderland. But I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I've heard that from, our friends at Secrets of Once Upon a Time, Father Roderick's podcast over there. I think he was the first place that I heard that from, and he had all of this evidence. But my pet theory, I think, about Neil is that he's no one. He's, as August said, he's just a guy caught in the crossfire. But I'm thinking the reason he has all of these things now in his New York apartment is that he's been fascinated by magic and by the fairy tales and all of this, and now it's become his obsession that he wants the power, he wants to be a part of this. And so he's been collecting all of these different pieces of different stories or different research and all of this. And now that he knows the curse is broken, that little smirk on his face in the premiere of season 2, I'm thinking that little smirk was, now I can get in. I mean, that didn't look like the smirk of, finally, I can be with my girlfriend that I haven't even talked to in 10 years. Unless that's unfailing love.
If that theory is correct, what would have been in the box? Like, what could some stranger come up to you, show you in a suitcase, and make you believe in magic and completely go along with everything he said?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Unless maybe something in the box has the power to convince him.
Right.
Kind of like Doctor Who, and his little paper that he holds up to everyone.
Psychic,
psychic paper that it shows people what they want to see. Maybe typewriters kind of like that. I don't know. What's in the box?
We all want to know what's in the box. I theorize of what could be in the box, and we haven't come to a conclusion, Larissa and myself, of what could be in the box. Again, the typewriter, what if it's something like a shape-shifting type of thing that could actually become whatever it is, like you said, like in Doctor Who, they show him the paper and they believe what they say, but what if it's a shape-shifting type of thing that August actually found somewhere? I don't know. Or he brought something with him that we don't know about.
Yeah.
That's just a theory.
What other pet theories? What other pet theories or things that you are still holding on to from season 1 or anything like that? Anything else that you guys wanted to share before we move on?
I wasn't okay with how fast they got rid of Lancelot. I thought that he deserved a little bit more, and so I kind of hope that they bring him back. I mean, maybe he's still alive because we never saw a body, and we never saw Cora kill him, and they have brought people back from the dead before. But
Cora lies.
Yeah, Cora lies. And there's just something about Lancelot that I keep going back to in my head. I'm like, how is this connected to everything else happening? Maybe he'll be around to help Mulan and Aurora on their end of the journey, since they're the only ones not in Storybrooke right now. But Lancelot is someone that every episode I just keep waiting for him to make a triumphant return.
I think if nothing else, he'll end up returning in some flashbacks because, even more so than just that initial flashback they showed of him, when Snow saw him, she was like, "Oh, Lancelot!" Like they had a really strong connection. So there's more history there to tell. Anyway.
Yes, I agree.
I can't wait for that. Hopefully they do bring him back just for flashbacks. But yes, like I said, like you said, Tiana, I really want to see him if he is alive. I just don't want him to see him as a unanimated corpse.
Yeah.
I don't want that. No, I don't want that to happen. That was just a funny episode, just seeing all those people, but they didn't act like zombies. They just acted like normal people, and of course you couldn't kill them because the hearts were completely gone from their bodies. Yeah. But it was weird. I felt like Walking Dead-ish without the brain.
I was going to say that was a cool scene, but it really felt like counter-programming to Walking Dead. Like, oh, you have to wait an hour for Walking Dead? Why don't you watch zombies?
Well, Mulan did kill one of them by cutting its head off.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Has this season felt like way more violent to everyone else than the first season, or way more violent than you expected 8 o'clock on a Sunday night? There's been a lot of stabbings and people getting cut in half and all sorts
Parts
of stuff.
Getting taken out.
Yeah.
Or parts being put back together, of course. It was more gory this time around. For being a family type of show, because they said it's supposed to be a family type of show, it got a little bit darker. Yes. I still love it. I still love it.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a complaint.
Rumble Unicorn. I was like, is this ABC really? I mean, I was really surprised.
And then Regina killed someone that looks like she could have been Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought about
I
that
did
too.
not notice that. Yeah.
Don't know if that's true, but whatever. She's got big eyes when she's missing her heart.
I actually have one more theory. It's kind of far-fetched, but because ABC and Disney bought out Marvel, I'm hoping, it's more of a hope that, some Marvel characters will pop out. I know they're not quite fairy tale, but neither is Frankenstein, so.
Well, they've already appeared in comic books that are on the shelves and comic books that Henry reads.
So it'd be awesome if they kind of came and...
Yeah. That's been one of my big hopes too.
Right?
And we were actually talking a few weeks ago when Disney bought Lucasfilm. When Darth Vader showed up.
Oh my god. That's episode 7. That's how they're gonna bring back Darth Vader. No, but the character from Marvel that I would like to see will be Wolverine, and all of a sudden he cuts off the head of Rumpelstiltskin. That's it.
I think Thor would be awesome. He's kind of fitting for Storybrooke.
That is true.
Well, since we're now...
Thor would make sense,
Right?
because Thor's mythology. It's not.
Yeah,
just
they've already used Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Since we're kind of talking about the future, let's talk about where do you think season 2 is going, and especially if you have any kind of guess. Now, let's avoid any kind of spoilers and try and be conservative on not spoiling anything. But any kind of guesses, any theories of where season 2 is going, especially what do you think the cliffhanger is going to be at the end of season 2? So, talk about that.
Brain teaser right here, right
now.
Henry will have to choose between Emma and Regina, maybe. I don't know.
Do you think it's going to be a kind of choice where Regina has earned his trust back?
I don't know, because I do think Regina is going to turn evil again. So it's a really difficult thing to think about.
So do you think that Henry might be, because I know that we talked about this on our show, about Henry kind of showing that little bit of fascination with Regina's magic at the end there. So maybe he's going to start twiddling his thumbs in the magical world. And
I don't think that'll happen anytime soon, just because he seems so against it right now. But I mean, I feel like, Emma is just like, oh gosh, like Regina, she's, I don't know what to say. I'm just like, I don't know. Someone take away the words from me because I'm so lost right now.
Tiona, I want to connect your theory to something. Earlier I said that maybe Neil is nobody who's gotten obsessed with magic and now wants to be a part of magic. Well, we're pretty certain Neil is Henry's father. That's how Tallahassee seems to set it. So what if Neil comes in, he's obsessed with magic, and somehow he captures Henry's attention and affections, and that could be a good setup for Henry getting into magic.
That could be, because all the adults in Storybrooke right now kind of keep, every time Henry wants to help or do something, they kind of push him to the side. Like, they don't listen to him. And I feel like perhaps maybe once Neil's there, he'll be the one who actually is like, hey, I'm going to treat you like an equal, and we can kind of solve this together. So that might be either good or bad for Henry.
That makes me miss August, because August also kind of like took Henry in, and he was very accepting, and so I can't wait to see
August
Pinocchio.
just in general.
Me too.
Yeah.
I just want to see his wooden self walk in all of a sudden. I'm back.
But I could see Henry getting into magic too. just in a situation where, you know, you might be very anti-gun, but if an army swoops down on your city, you're going to be in line to get armed to defend your city. And I think the same thing might happen with Hook and Korra coming in, where he might be very resistant to magic, but when, you know, there's demons flying around and Hook's running around killing people, he might be tempted.
And in our comments that we've got while we're doing this live event, someone had said in here that pointing out that if Bay is also Neil, then that would make Henry Rumpelstiltskin's grandson. And so Amy Sawyer said, if Regina doesn't teach Henry magic, Grandpa Rumpel will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually discussing that a couple episodes back when Rumpel was being very helpful just for Henry. We were like, well, maybe he knows something we don't, you know, like, because that would be an interesting dynamic too.
I hope Rumpel doesn't teach Henry because he's already ruined Regina and Korra. I hope that doesn't happen.
Well,
He could be probably the great grandfather of Rumpel. I can't speak. There's so many things coming into my head. It could be the grandfather on the side of Neil. That could be interesting to see that Rumpel actually takes him under his wing. But I think it's a little bit far-fetched that would happen. For me, I don't think that could possibly happen. But we'll see.
What if Emma taught him magic? Because now we know in the mid-season finale she's, you know, magical. Maybe she's going to start using her powers, and maybe she might teach him some things or two.
That makes me wonder if, like, Henry has his own magic since Emma has her own magic.
The magic of belief.
Emma's wasn't activated until a moment of extreme stress in Fairy Tale Land, so would Henry have to go to Fairy Tale Land too? Who knows? So it worries me.
But she did have a little bit of magic, because if you remember the season premiere, when of course they were trying to use a hat to actually get rid of the wraith, Emma touched Regina, and Regina all of a sudden got this burst of power and was able to use the hat to actually get rid of the wraith. So I think Emma doesn't know that she has magic, but I believe that she had magic since the beginning. But at this moment in the mid-season finale, that's when she realized that she had all that power in her when she dispersed Korra from taking her heart. But like I said, if there is magic, hopefully it is Emma that actually teaches Henry about it.
And I wonder who's going to teach Emma how to use her magic.
Right.
Since, you know, she clearly doesn't know how to control it, and it has been just kind of bursts here and there of her exuding it.
Maybe it's going to be Rumpel, because he does seem a little fascinated and even a tad bit intimidated by her, in my opinion. So maybe Rumpel will kind of like try to teach her, because he has been a teacher of the past. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Or would the Blue Fairy be able to? Even though they got rid of all the fairy dust, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you, Rebecca. Probably the Blue Fairy would actually do that.
It could be a situation where she has to learn on the job too, because, you know, when we pick up, the two big bads are right there offshore. They're in 2 minutes.
Let's get it on.
Regina might actually teach her, I think. I as a sort of showing the redemption path more to Henry. That's what I know.
Maybe it's just a ploy for her to use Emma just to get closer to Henry. Yes, you know, twists and turns every single day.
I wonder, going back to that idea that Regina might sacrifice herself, I've kind of wondered if that's what she's going to do in order to stop Korra. Like, maybe she will ally herself with Korra for a while because she'll be all emotional, and here her mommy shows up and gives her all this comfort and says, "Oh, the big bad little lumpy stumpy stiltskin." And then they just go on this rampage again. But then at some point, Regina maybe realizes she's hurting Henry, the one last thing that she loves in this world. And so in order to stop Korra, she does actually sacrifice herself and maybe die. Maybe it's a If you've seen the movie Dragonheart, maybe it's a heart sort of thing where their hearts are connected. So if Regina dies, Korra dies, or something like that. It's way out there theory, but it might happen.
Which
Well,
leads me
we
to...
don't know where Korra is storing her heart yet, do we?
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
she's
that's
storing
true.
it with Regina.
Or it could be in that box, the one that Neil saw. Who knows?
Well, if that were the case, we would have seen the red thing, but you never know. I mean, Korra's heart could probably be deactivated. And she's still alive. I don't know how.
If someone came up to me, showed me a heart in the box, okay, dude, I'm doing whatever you say.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're the plan man, I'm the action man. Let's go.
Just look at how shaken up Ruby was when she found the heart in a box.
And the fact that she got scared about those new abilities that she was getting in season 1, yeah, I would be scared too. Yeah, seeing a heart, okay, I'm freaking out.
Where else do you think we're going for season 2?
Well, as far as the finale, I too see it coming down to a choice, but I think what'll happen is, the season finale episode, throughout the episode, Korra and Hook will be vanquished or redeemed or whatever. Our heroes will have won. The curse will be completely lifted. And then it's going to end with the characters having to choose whether to stay in the real world and go out and venture into it, or go back to fairy tale. And there'll be like two factions, people who want to stay, people who want to go, and drama for season 2. That's my thing.
Yeah, I'd like to piggyback on that because I think it will at some point end up with the fairy tale characters going out of Storybrooke. That's where I would kind of like to see those magical fairy tale characters in New York or Boston or something like that. That would be really fun.
What I would like to see, probably season finale, Faye coming back, but maybe just as Chernobog. That would be fun. Guess I was just having fun with that one. I don't know. I would have to think a little bit harder to find out what I want to see in the season finale in the future. So if anybody has anything else, I'll think about it a little bit more.
I think even because of the mid-season finale, maybe Prince Philip will, be reinvented or resuscitated, and he'll have to choose between Mulan and Aurora.
I rewatched that episode the other day, and when he says "I love you" at the end, right before the wraith kind of takes him, he's not looking at anyone in particular.
That's what I said.
I was like, wait a second, good girl, man.
We still need some flashbacks as to what exactly happened between those two while they were looking for Aurora.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be cool.
Do you think they're going to follow Aurora and Mulan on their adventure, or it's just going to be implied it happened and then they're just going to show up, for like in the exact time they need to show up to help do something? Or do you think we're going to get a little bit of them every episode next half?
I think we'll see it.
Yeah.
Because in order to get that Philip being revived, I think we need to earn that journey. And I think it's also a good way for us to meet new characters in Fairy Tale Land, because if there were other people in the Haven, then that might be a good way for them to introduce new characters. Maybe Ariel's there, something like that. So I think it will be, I would love to see that. And I think you kind of have to do that in order to earn Philip being restored.
Yeah, I think maybe seeing them interacting away from Snow and Emma might make me like the portrayals of the characters a little more too. That's been one of my big complaints this season, is I didn't think they were... I think they're performed well. I just don't think they're very strongly written. And there were a couple episodes there where one would just pop up for 2 seconds and then run off. And I just need a little more development there, I think.
I'm going to agree, because if you had asked me after the first couple episodes if I wanted to know anything about Aurora or Mulan, I'd say no. But by the mid-season finale, I was definitely like, okay, now I actually kind of care about what happens to them and their journey.
Especially Aurora, because she had the whole, big arc with getting the heart taken.
Yeah.
If they come back, I think that it's going to be for more than just wrapping up that story. Like, their story will then cross with something else. Like, maybe the Wraith will come back, or maybe they'll end up going to some dark, wicked evil fiery world or something, and then someone else will be there too that's tied in with the rest of the story, or it's something, or maybe Neil is back there too.
Maybe.
That's not a theory. That's not real. But
Okay.
something like that could happen. Something that just makes us go, whoa, and we wouldn't expect it. But it might be something like they'll bring back Aurora and Mulan with that purpose.
What
Oh,
I want.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what I want to see, and this was because of a comment that I just saw on the YouTube stream. What I want to see probably in the season finale, and this would be probably like the perfect ending to this season, Cinderella and Thomas's wedding. What's happening with that? We haven't seen them in all this season. Come on.
Cinderella's on another show.
Yeah.
So
It's canceled now, so
she can come back.
She can come back for that season finale, and that's it. To get the wedding done.
She's hanging out with the genie.
Yeah. The other show. Okay. I would love to see that though for the finale for this season where it goes to finale. That's what I would like to see.
I think it's sort of too early to tell about the finale because I know in season 1 the finale sort of started to come together for me in episode 12 and 13 with, you know, True Love's kiss can break any curse and all of that. So I'm sort of waiting until the second half of the season comes around before I start trying to formulate finale stuff for real, because I think that's when they start progressing towards the end.
In our chat, Zachi Days asked, do you think there's enough content and hinting to go to Neverland, maybe season 3?
I think we're going to get at least peaks of Neverland this season. You know, with Hook coming to Storybrooke and Smee already being there, it seems like we're probably due for a flashback or two to their time in Neverland. But I hope they get to it this season. I don't know if they'll get to. I know they want to do Oz and they want to do Little Mermaid. I don't know if they'll get to those this season, but I think we'll get Neverland. Especially
if these theories of Neil being Balefire and also being Peter Pan, which I'm not attached to that theory, but if it's right, then yeah, I think we definitely have to see some Neverland in order to connect.
You definitely exposed my bias. I was trying to support my pet theory.
There probably is enough content for Neverland because we've heard of the Lost Voice. We've heard of Neverland. We know that Hook has been in Neverland, and Korra has been to so many worlds. Probably one of them being Neverland. You would never know. Yeah, I think that there could be some of it in the season, but they'll keep some more for season 3. I mean, with the producers are still constantly thinking of what to do, and the fact that we haven't still seen Neverland is like, bring it here, come on. We need to see something.
Yeah.
The creators have said, you know, Peter Pan was the one they wanted to do, so I definitely think now they have the rights, they're going to do it. And I really like the person who said in the chat that Ariel could be in in Neverland. That's a great theory.
Yeah, that's true because there were mermaids.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe that's where the deepest, ocean, the bottom of a bottomless ocean was where the squid ink was. Maybe that is in Neverland, yeah.
Yeah, well, I assume Ariel will probably tie into that somehow, because that sounds like the perfect job for a mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, go down to the bottom and get some ink.
But if you can't, I will. That's what Rumpelstiltskin said. He said only a mermaid can get it, or him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a mermaid. He's going to be Ariel.
Oh, no.
That'll be the season finale cliffhanger. Rumpel is actually a mermaid.
Oh, gosh.
I hope he's not King Triton. No King Triton, please.
Yeah.
He's powerful enough.
I think another good sort of season finale cliffhanger would be to see, I don't know if someone gets put back under like another sleeping spell or something, but what if True Love's kiss doesn't work? Like what happens when you can't get someone back from that? And sort of like the question, because I kind of thought that's where they were going with the mid-season finale with Charming being asleep and Snow running in there and kissing him. I kind of didn't want him to wake up just to see how that could play out. But then, of course, the girl in me loved that he woke up because I'm in love with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
go
I don't
ahead.
think I don't think you can now backtrack from that and say, oh, it won't work, because they've said forever the true love's kiss can break any curse, and we've seen that between so many different people. So I kind of wouldn't want that to happen, just because that would retcon so many other things that have been set up before it.
What
I
if
mean, it wasn't true love.
Well, that's true. That's what that would mean. Yeah.
It's like, how many times can you get away with saving the same person the same way? But I don't know. That's just me.
so like what if like Prince Philip needs a true love's kiss and Aurora goes for it and nada, but then then Mulan goes for it and it's like Shazam.
Oh, I'd hate to see that happen.
That's a love triangle waiting to happen.
Oh,
Philip's
goodness.
kiss worked on Aurora, so would that say that Aurora didn't really love him?
I think it says that he loved Aurora, but then again, look at when Prince Charming had to break the spell that was on Snow White. It was only when Snow suddenly started feeling some kind of love for him that their kiss actually worked. So it did have to be mutual in some sense.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yes. And I agree. So many things.
Yeah, right.
Well, anything else? This has been an awesome conversation. Time has just flown by.
I wish we could talk forever.
We don't have that much time.
We have got to do this again. Next hiatus,
Definitely.
we've got to do this again. I know there's several other Once Upon a Time podcasters that weren't able to make it, like the guys from DVMPE, the podcast empire over there, couldn't make it tonight. They had a Christmas party. I mean, come on. Once Upon a Time or a Christmas party. What's your priorities? But several others too. With this being Christmas time, and I know schedules are hard, but I really appreciate that we were able to get together, do this. We've got to do this again. Next hiatus. That's what I'm saying. We've got to do this next hiatus and talk some more.
I'm in.
I'm down.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make a pact. Everyone.
Fist bump it right there.
Well, everyone, tell us again your where people can find you on the web, and let us know your web address especially, and if your podcast has a Twitter account or anything like that, any way that you want people to connect with you. Bill, let's start with you.
Okay, well, you can find the podcast at greetingsfromstorybrook.com or search for that on iTunes. The podcast Twitter account is GF Storybrook, because Twitter won't allow very long names, unfortunately. And you can also follow me personally on Twitter. I'm at Bill Meeks.
You can find us at othersideofthemirror.com. You can tweet us at othersideonce. It's always me tweeting back. It's never Alex. And you can find us on iTunes, of course, after Other Side of the Mirror. So
And you are Bree, too.
I am Bree.
Bree. You can find us at the storybrookherald.wordpress.com. Basically, just to get the new episodes. You can also go to iTunes and look for the Storybrook Herald. Also, there's a group page on Facebook. Just look for the Storybrook Herald. It's an open group, so you can join us. Give us your feedback. And my Twitter account is ESOJZETINMEB. Which is basically Benitez backwards. It's a little tough. So go to storybrookherald.wordpress.com. You'll find the links for the Twitters, and I'm using that Twitter for the Storybook Herald.
Awesome.
All right. You can find us, Jonna and I, along with our co-hosts, on AfterBuzzTV.com Sunday nights at 9 p.m. after the show. And then there's also an Afterblog. If you go to AfterBuzzTV.com and click on Afterblog, I blog about Once Upon a Time Afterwards. And you can find me on Twitter at KAORIOUS, Corious.
Okay.
And you can find Operation Cobra Podcast at operationcobrapodcast.blogspot.com. And we're also on Twitter at OP Cobra Podcast. And you can also, if you want to follow me personally, I'm at Derby Kid.
and I'm at AfterBuzzTV.com or on Twitter at AfterBuzzTV. And my personal Twitter is TWEETEE22, tweet T22. You can find me there as well.
I'm wherever Daniel is, and that's oncepodcast.com. And you can follow me on Twitter as Jenny's Nook. That's JENNYSNOOK.
And I'm Daniel J. Lewis, host of oncepodcast.com, and you can follow our show Twitter account at oncepodcast, or follow me personally at the Ramen Noodle. So for all of the other Once Upon a Time podcasters represented here and those abroad that weren't able to make it tonight, I want to thank everyone so much for watching. And please let these podcasters know that you enjoyed this. Tell the other podcasters to clear their schedules, skip out on the Christmas party so they can participate again. And we will do this again in the future. You can watch, I'm sure all of us will tweet about it, blog about it, and anything like that. And if you are listening to just the audio version of this, we'll have video versions available as well, and vice versa. So you can consume that from all of us and on YouTube and all of that great stuff. So thank you, everyone, for watching. And thank you, panel, for joining us. And like I like to say in our podcast, have a happy ever after.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.